During a recent women's college basketball game, two rival programs, LSU and the University of South Carolina, got into a brawl. Now, these two programs are elite, and they battle for national championships seemingly every year. Last year, LSU won the national championship in the women's tournament, and the University of South Carolina hasn't lost a game in over 700 days in the regular season. Like, these two programs are elite, and they got into a brawl. Now, one of the things I want to highlight is the dignity that was showed within this brawl, and the other thing I want to highlight is how important I think it is to allow these athletes to be athletes. When you're competing at this level, it gets intense, it gets really passionate, and players oftentimes will lose their cool. Now, that's not to excuse poor behavior, but it is to let people know the environment that these players are functioning in is very different than normal life. What happened leading up to this brawl is the two players were walking past one another. One of the players on the LSU shoved one of the players on University of South Carolina. Maybe it's the other way around, I can't remember. And the player fell down and stood up, and they rushed each other, and then the brawl broke out. But something really interesting happened. The most famous player, maybe in all of college basketball behind Caitlin Clark, is a woman named Angel Reese. Angel Reese is incredibly famous. She is making a ton of money in college basketball now that you can make money off your name, image, and likeness. And when the fight broke out, Angel Reese went the other way. And I was interested in that because even amongst this high passion, this really intense environment, she recognizes I have a lot to lose and she could make a logical decision. And she actually went the opposite direction of the fight, which I thought was really interesting and speaks to the maturity of this player, the maturity of this environment, and how when people have a lot to lose, they're much more likely to make a good decision. She is an incredibly important member of her team. And they're going into the tournament, the national championship tournament, in the next week or so. And she made a decision to reserve her availability and make sure she was there for her teammates. Now, people online are criticizing her for not being there for her teammates in the middle of a fight. But I think she was there for her teammates in a very different way because she's going to make sure that she remains eligible to participate in the national championship tournament. The other thing that we should highlight is you can see her limping as she walked away from this fight. And she mentioned that she had twisted her ankle on the play before. But I think we need to let these young people be young people. Whether or not they decided to walk away or get into the brawl, like they're in a very young stage of life. The most prominent player on the University of South Carolina, she's the leading scorer on the team, and she was right in the middle of the brawl, and she ran into the brawl, and now she's not going to be available as they go into this tournament, and she may cost her team a national championship if they lose. Like, she's the best player on the team. And sometimes you can be there for your players or be there for your players, right? Sometimes you can be there for your teammates or you can be there for your teammates. And I think in this moment, it was much more important to be available in the tournament than to engage yourself into a fight that could cost you much more. But do you want to know my favorite part of this whole scenario? My favorite part of this whole scenario is actually two parts. It's the way, literally, as they're accepting the champion, because this happened in the championship of their conference, and as they're accepting the trophy for this championship, the coach of the South Carolina team, a woman named Dawn Staley, who's right now probably the best coach in the industry, apologized to the audience and talked about how they need to do better and really handled it in a really dignified way.
I just want to apologize to the basketball community. You know, when you're playing in championship games like this, in our league, things get heated. No bad intentions. They just tried, their emotions got so far ahead of them that sometimes these things happen. So I want to apologize for us playing a part in that, because that's not who we are and that's not what we're about.
And then the other thing that happened that was one of my favorite parts of this whole story is one of the players that started this whole melee. I think her name is Floja. I think that's how she pronounces it. But she's also really famous too. She does rap videos and she's really popular. She approached Dawn Staley and apologized for her role in the brawl, for her role in the fight. And I think it just demonstrates that you can lose your cool and you can be frustrated. You can have a difficult time, but you can also be a big person and still be a good person in the midst of an intense environment. So as far as I'm concerned, these are just athletes in a high stress, high intense environment, losing their cool for a minute, but it doesn't define them and who they are. And never forget how young these people are. They're college kids, man. They're between 18, 20, 22. Let them be young kids and let them make mistakes. I know I made crazy mistakes when I was young. I wasn't famous. There was no social media at the time. And let these people be young and make mistakes too. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment below on what you think of this story, what you thought of this video. I'd really appreciate if you would like this video, share this video, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel so you get notified each and every time we release a video on this channel. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.